1 of a 5-part series that will deal with the introduction on using eCIO as a living document Knowledgeware for the business analyst. The BA is an important liaison between the business stakeholders and technical teams, ensuring that business needs are reflected in any software solution. eCIO solves this problem by providing a living compendium of tools, techniques, and templates that the business analysts can use to carry out their assigned tasks. Please feel free to copy the backend for your use. You can pick that up and use the example artifacts for each of your projects. The value proposition for here is this is a visual example that you can use to do your own work. So we'll kind of start what you need to do. So the first particular aspect is to purchase the backend, and usually these backends are inexpensive, less than $20. And what we want to do is you want to pick up your backend. You may copy it to a new name. You may relink it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to show you, we have some sample backends. And this is the business analyst questionnaires that we're going to bring up. Now we've already done this for you, so we'll go into bringing that up. And we'll go into that particular. So now we're running off of, this is the business analyst processes, meetings, and questionnaires backend. There'll be a series of templates and like within it. And we'll go through this. Now, you've seen previous videos. This has been set up to only select those particular items that are of interest to the business analyst. You can change them and set them up if you feel there's a need to do that. Now, one of the other things I wanted to mention is there's a lot of great books out there on business analysts. We've taken some stuff and some case studies from several of these books. One that we think is very good is a Business Analyst Handbook, and if you go into and pick up the back end, you can go directly and pick this book up. We'll show you a little bit about how to do it, or the examples. The book will go into far more details, explain the background, and I encourage you to go and pick it up. If you click on it, you bring this up and go to the back end, and you click on the shopping cart, it'll bring you to the Amazon site. You can order your book there. So we'll get rid of that. Part 2, we'll be talking about documentation, questionnaires, deliverables, use cases. So we'll go into a little bit more details on that. So in it, you'll see examples of types of reports, etc. And in the part 2 video, we'll go into talking a little bit about those. And as part of the examples, it's going to be questionnaires in part 2. Part of it, to give you an example, what eCI will show you and demonstrate for you is if there's a meeting, who the business, some of the process owners, will talk a little bit about that one, what you need to do for the meeting, the questionnaires, where you see the responses, here are the questions, etc. And then you can fill in your responses like within it, and then what you need to do in terms of for each of the meetings or deliverables on that side of it. Part 3, we'll go into the roadmap, blueprint, and what we're going to try to do within eCIO. We'll go through each of the phases, we'll identify some of the tasks, your WBS structure, etc., and then we'll outline each of those in through that. Part 4 is going to talk about meetings, committee structures, etc. What we're going to try to do is identify some of the roles, where they fit, as you saw in the previous example, where they fit through it. They'll be tied, in our case we haven't tied them in, but we'll be tying them in to the governance team, who the management teams are for each of these roles. So you'll be able to drill down into these, see who each of these are. For those that have had experience with eCIO, you'll understand that you can go into each of these roles, pick them up, look at what they're about, what the job descriptions, etc. on each of those are in fact, and we'll show you that part 4. In part 5, we're going to talk a little bit about frameworks. So we're going to be talking about the tools, some of the tools we're going to look at, terminology, acronyms, etc. on that side of it. How all these tools are interrelated, where tools are being used and for the business analyst. We'll also look at RACI components, the knowledge base on some of these items, and where you can kind of actually fill out your knowledge base on that side of it. So that concludes the introduction, and please feel free to visit our site. It's www.ecisolutions.com. The front end version for this is $40. We're trying to keep it to the price of a book. Back-end versions kind of juggle around between different prices, but you can pick those up fairly inexpensively. And then for each of your initiatives, you can just make a copy of your back-end, and please feel free to use it. I hope this was of some interest to you. If there's any questions, please feel free to send us them to support@eciSolutions.com, and we'll be pleased to get those answered. Now we'll look at the next video. Will be part 2, which is the documentation, examples, questionnaires that you can use cases, some of the reporting, and the like that the business analyst can use for this. Thank you very much, and look forward to hearing from you.